See, now this is why I do what I do. Why I go see all the movies and I'm digging into the trenches, glossing through the fucking jungles and the shit to find the gems. That's what I'm here for, ladies and gentlemen. To find the good boys and girls.
This process might seem overwhelming, but with a little practice, it can soon become a pleasurable experience. This is perfectly natural.
Today we have Barbarian. I wasn't sure what to think going into this movie. I saw the trailer once, about a month or two ago when it dropped. All I remembered from the trailer was, oh, apparently Justin Long is in this, but there's Bill Skarsgård. He's definitely in this. I see him. And this is going to be a horror thriller, basically, is all that I got. The trailer does a very good job of only showing a little bit. And believe me, it really only shows a little bit. This is going to be a bit of a different review. It's going to be the same kind of stuff I normally do, but I'm going to be as vague as possible. Even more so than usual, because I fully believe if you intend to see this movie, you got to go in as blind as possible. As blind as possible into this film is hands down the best way to do it. And I was almost entirely blind. Boy, oh boy, was that a good time. And this is interesting. The director of Barbarian is a Zach Kreger. Technically his second film, so if I'm being real. It's a second film, but he hasn't made one in years and years. But this guy has been around. He's more of an actor, funny enough, and he has a lot of ties to the OG. If you don't know what this is, by the way, Whitest Kids You Know, one of the most hilarious sketch comedy series that happened, like in the infancy of sketch comedy. Like it was Chappelle's Show, Whitest Kids You Know. I mean, iconic sketches and skits, and he was an actor in a lot of them, and a writer and producer, and he worked with some of the greats. R.I.P. And he's been around in the industry for years and years. This is just like the second film he's done since fucking 2009. Star power. As you see on the poster, there are 3 names. 1 gal on the poster and 3 names. The main gal, leading lady of this, is Georgina Campbell. And especially when it comes to our horror, and for me, like survival horror or thriller or what have you, I love a leading lady in horror. They usually are good characters and all that. She's been in stuff before, but I think the most notable thing she's been in was in an episode of Black Mirror. She was in Hane the DJ. It was one of my favorites of that season because it was the one about the dating app, and it was a whole thing. But you should definitely watch it. She was in that. If my memory serves correctly, she killed it in that as well. Also in here, Pennywise himself, Bill Skarsgård. If you recognize that name, there's a few of them, and they're all actors. They're like an acting family. So you'll see a lot of, you'll see Stellan Skarsgård and Bill Skarsgård. I've brought them up before in the past, but they're all good actors in their own right. And I like how each subsequent member of the family seems to continue and carry on this acting tradition. Also leading in the film, you don't see him in the trailer, but he's definitely in the film, is Justin Long, another icon in... It's really weird how to categorize what he's been in the past. I would say he's either in comedies or in like horror films or dark horror comedy. He's been in a lot of stuff. Like he has a wider filmography, but Justin Long, if you don't know him, look him up. He's a good actor. He's a cool dude. Like does good work. How best to describe Barbarian? It is in my and your best interest for me not to fully describe this film. I really, really enjoyed this. I might have loved it. I love how weird this film can get, but I also just love going based off only what's in the trailer. The premise is great. It's a creative and a very tense premise, and it is very well acted by the actors involved. I enjoyed every moment of how it progressed. I never knew where this film was going, and I loved that. I love when a film can take me on a ride like this, especially if it's in the category of horror or horror thriller. Film took me for a ride. I never at one point, there were some moments where I was like, oh, I think this is about to happen, but never did I know, where this story was going. Holy shit, does this story go? All the actors kill it. They're great. They all play their roles very well. Definitely worth mentioning, all 3 of our, primary cast members here, very good at portraying fear, a borderline hysterical fear in spots, but fear is very well acted in this film, especially for Georgina. There are a couple moments where she's like calling out someone's name but getting more and more scared, and it's the hesitation in the voice, and it's the faltering, the shakiness, and like I just love seeing and hearing good actors, and they all are good actors. Similar to what Nope did not even a month or two ago, this blends horror genres well. Again, don't want to tip the hand here too much, but this film covers more ground than I thought it would cover, but it blends it all very well. I'll leave it at that. Whatever this film brings up or whatever it decides to dish out to the audience, I think it handles excellently. Also, about 90% of the film is practical effects, so bravo. And this is an R-rated film, so I think you can put two and two together. There's a couple scenes where one scene I know for sure is CGI, and then there might have been one more scene, maybe some digital altering or something like that, but I'm almost pretty positive that 90% of this film, or around there, was all practical. And you know me, I love it when it's extra hard work being put into the filmmaking. So, and oh my god, I'm getting giddy about it, because I remember from the word go, from the beginning of this film and all throughout, I love how it's shot and directed. It's not conventionally shot. I mean, there are some conventional scenes, but it's the camera work, these little unique twists of camera work, the editing with how they chose to set up some scenes and how to film them. It was just, there were so many good choices that work so well to set up tension, to set up the space, to set up, mood, fear. It's the one name I didn't write down. If there's a separate cinematographer to credit right there, I'll put him right there, because he worked in conjunction with Zach. But Zach, fucking bravo, man. This is like giving me Vince Gilligan vibes. Like what Vince Gilligan is to drama in the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul universe, Zach Cregger is for like horror. And this is how the man's gonna do a horror film. I would love to see more from this. Who is this guy, right? I want to keep seeing more. But of course, it's not a perfect film, and there are some flaws, but only, I think I only had like 2 notes. Character decisions, for the most part, our characters make fairly smart decisions, or at least decisions that track with their character, especially our leading lady. She's no dummy. She's not dumb. She's careful, she's cautious, she's resourceful. But there's a couple moments about, I'd say Act 2, where I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why would you do that? And I know the argument can be made, oh, well, she helped the situation, or because she feels like it might be the right thing to do, or maybe she's scared, so she's not thinking correctly. An argument can be made for any of those, sure. But there's other movies that have had similar plot progressions where the character is just smart all the way through. This was one of those audiences where, since this was a horror movie that kind of goes directions, the audience was very reactive to this film. Hell, I was reactive. My friend group, everybody in the theater was very reactive in a good way to what was going on in the film. And whenever this lady was doing certain things, people were like, "Oh, come on!" Like, not a lot, but enough where it's worth making the point. Like, she wasn't 100% a strategic genius all the way through. Is the ending bad? No. Would I have liked the ending to have been somewhat different or handled a little bit differently? Yes. I think the ending for the movie is appropriate, but I think it could have ended a little differently, or maybe like built up a little tiny bit. It was lacking a pow for me. I would have liked to have seen the ending be done a tiny bit differently, and to really seal the deal on this film. That's literally the only 2 complaints that I have, and that will I gotta factor that in, of course, but in terms of my personal enjoyment, if you like horror, watch the movie. If you like thrillers or like horror thrillers, watch the movie. Gotta be okay with gore, dark thematic material, because there's definitely both of those in the film. Make no mistake about that. But if you're okay with a little bit of explicit content, or maybe a lot of bit of explicit content, this is probably one of my favorite films this year, I think. And I especially love that it's, I love it when a good horror film comes out. Now, people might disagree. I saw I didn't see the audience score, but the critics loved this film as well, for the most part, and I'm happy to see it. I was worried people weren't going to really pick up what was being put down, but they liked it a lot. So if you like films that I like, then I think you're going to really enjoy this. I want to sing its praises more. I'd love to talk more about it, but if you're watching this review because you're unsure how to feel about it, I want you going in blind. I want you to just experience this film because it's a hell of a ride. For all those reasons and many, many more, I would give Barbarian a very, very high 4 out of 5. It is near perfect. High 4 out of 5. Like I said, my only complaints were occasional gripes with character decisions, and personally, I would have liked the ending to have been a little bit different. But that's it. I have no really notes or complaints otherwise. Maybe there was a scene or two here that I could talk about if I wanted to spoil the movie that would also go into affecting the rating, but I'll leave it at that. Like I said, if you don't like horror, you're not going to probably like this film. If you're not okay with, gore or thematic materials or stuff that's like spooky, scary, and creepy and horrific, like you're probably not going to like this. But if you're like me and you love to see what the next greatest films are going to be, especially if they're horror, go see it. It's worth seeing in theaters. I'm contemplating watching it in theaters again. Maybe. At least maybe see it with somebody else. I don't know. But that's all I got to say about Barbarian. Go watch it, please. Based on how this year concludes, it might actually crack the top 10. We'll see. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching. And stay tuned for the next episode, whatever movie I review next. And goodbye, travelers.